What's the biz, everybody? It's your boy Baker Maker, aka D Ensley, and I'm here to give you some true shit. It's here, guys. It's finally here. After having to wait so long, it's finally here. F4 Studios, Final Fantasy VII Diorama statue, Resin Diorama statue. A 1/4 scaled polystone statue that, oh boy, is it a girthy one. It's a statue featuring Cloud Strife, Tifa Lockhart, and Aerith Gainsborough. One's a swordsman, one's a martial artist. Now, in the multiverse of Final Fantasy, she would be also considered a monk technically, and one's a white mage. I would say this is all the main characters of FF7 Remake Part 1, but we're missing Barrett Wallace. Considering just how big this whole thing already is, I could only imagine Barrett taking so much space as it is. And no, I'm not counting Red 13 because he came towards like the near end of Part 1. So now for Part 2, Rebirth, we can definitely consider him a part of the main cast of characters going forward. But yeah, as cool as it would have been for Barrett or anyone else to add any more else to this, adding more characters to this would have probably be too much, honestly. This was hyped up to be the ultimate FF7 statue to be released so far. We've gotten, like, throughout the years, we've gotten, ever since it got announced, we've been getting constantly updates from FF Studios. And, it's been a long process. Up to this point, as far as FF7 statues go, I've only collected tons of Tifa and one of Sephiroth. So when I had discovered that not only would we be getting Tifa, but Cloud and Aerith as well, I knew this would be the perfect statue for me, because I've been wanting to eventually own statues for Cloud and Aerith at some point. Granted, I still want a statue of Cloud riding the Hardy Daytona and Aerith in her red dress doing the Wall Market chapter in the future. But for now, I'm content with just having this. Now, I pre-ordered this back in the September of 2020 and have been waiting patiently for the sculptors to finish. As I mentioned before, this thing is massive. It is a 1/4 scaled statue after all. And the base alone is huge and quite heavy if you're just carrying it with one arm. At least for me, anyways. It's exactly 45 centimeters height, 56 centimeters width, and 55 centimeters depth. So putting all these pieces together, it just makes this base super heavy. Like, it's nuts. This takes so much space that I'm still trying to sort out where in my room is a proper spot to put this and not worry about it getting broken. My Pink Studios Tifa statue still got it beat in terms of being the tallest statue I've owned so far, but it's undoubtedly the widest and heaviest statue I've owned so far. So the base is pretty impressive. It's modeled like a concrete floor, and based on the blocks and the sign that comes with this, it looks like we're probably on Shinra's turf or an area closely associated with Shinra. The base comes with tons of pieces that are part of some reconstruction or something. Like I said before, we got some we got blocks with the Shinra company logo on it, and even a sign saying Sector 7. Figuring out which piece goes where was not easy, by the way. I wish this had came with a manual instead. I wish instead I had to watch someone else's unboxing on YouTube to help me. Once I did that, I had to put the characters' pieces together, which again was not easy. What really made this extremely difficult was the fact that one of Cloud's arms were already broken before I did any of the unboxing. So I had to glue it back on, and it took forever just to stay on. And because of that, it also made it really difficult for the Buster Sword to stay attached to his left hand. Speaking of which, his Buster Sword here looks amazing. Looks like it came straight from the video game. It's pretty massive, and I love that it does have the red and green materia on it. I gotta say that I think they did a decent job on Cloud's piece overall in terms of sculpting. I'd give his head a 7.5 out of 10. They got his face shaped very well. His hairstyle is correct for the most part, but the texture is a bit off, and I feel like the shading in his hair could have been improved. The likeness of his face isn't bad, but there's still something a bit off to me. I can't necessarily figure out what it is. Again, not bad though. Everything else about him, I think they did an excellent job from his body, muscles, and clothes. Aerith's model here, in my opinion, does look slightly better. Like her face, for instance. I've seen F4 Studios progress photos of Aerith's head sculpt on Facebook, and I think the final product looks better. I think they did a decent job with her shading on her face. The shading on her face, it's not 100% spot on, but it's close. Much like the texture on Cloud's hair, I think Aerith's could have been a little better, but it's not necessarily bad. The overall sculpting of her hair is great, and I love that they got her ponytail slightly waving in the air. Though I'm not too fond with them making Aerith's jacket a brownish red. I think a more brighter red would have looked better. As for her magic staff, a piece of it that attaches it to her hand got broken. But that was my fault, so I had to glue it back on. Then finally, we have my girl Tifa, who I think the sculptors did the best job on. From her face to hair to the shading of the makeup on her face, they made sure to add all the important details of her outfit on here. The straps of her suspenders were a bit tricky to put on at first, but once you do figure out how to put them on, it's pretty easy. It helps that most of these pieces come with magnets, though some magnets are pretty strong. There are a few that aren't, unfortunately. The poses for all three of these characters are awesome. Very natural battle stances. Tifa's being my favorite. Out of all the Tifa statue that's been released so far, this has got to be the one with the best pose. And it might be my favorite one as well. It's not overly sexualized like a lot of her other statues, so it doesn't come with cast-off features, meaning you can't remove her clothing. Sorry, guys. So I know some of you are a little disappointed with that, but it is what it is. Compared to the most of the other Tifa statues, her head sculpt does look the closest to her, and like I said before, she's got the most badass pose. And before you ask, you bet your ass this was indeed expensive. So I first did a deposit of $150, then sent a payment of $100 4 times, and finally $174 for shipping. So that is a total. So that sums up a grand total of $724 that I spent on this thing. But overall, I'm very pleased with how the diorama statue turned out. Although the character models might not look as great as they did in the first prototype photo, I still think they did a stellar job. Not perfect, but I'm satisfied. Though the only thing that makes me kinda regret getting this is how massive it is. I knew it was gonna be huge, but I didn't think, but not this huge. Oh well, I'm just gonna have to figure out how to figure out where to put this out, display this somehow. Going forward, I might have to stick with buying smaller scale statues. But that's pretty much it, guys. Tell me what you guys think of it. Do you like it, dislike it? Does it seem like some of you would be interested in purchasing yourself? Assuming it's not already sold out, of course. But yeah. Which piece is your favorite? Is it the Cloud, Tifa, or Aerith? Which one's your favorite of the 3 pieces? Which one you think they did the best job on, and which one you think they could have done like more improvements on and stuff? You know. Like I said, comment below your thoughts in the comment section. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this, and make sure to, most importantly, hit that notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I do post something. You know. With that said, stay beast.